Hi, Facebook. We're coming today from Thousand Oaks, California. It's my last day here. And my name is Jerry. And I am with Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica. And I'll wait for a minute or two for people to join this broadcast. So today we're going to be talking about how multiple modalities help and how to use multiple technologies to get your desired result in your spiritual awakening. And the first thing I want to talk about, or first thing I'd like to do, is that as you guys come on today and join, I'd love you to share this so other people can get the benefit of whatever it is that we're talking about. And all of Rythmia and everything that we believe in is a system, and that system is not designed to make you a super spiritual person. The system is designed to make you happy. So the first thing I want to say is that if you have someone in your life, or if you're following someone, or you're being trained by someone, and that person's objective or the net result of their work makes you feel like less than them spiritually, please get rid of them, because that's not what this thing is about. This thing is not about where someone is in a pecking order of spirituality. It's not it at all. You show me a happy person, and I'll show you someone who's spiritual. And that's the truth. And by happy, and this is the thing, 20 years ago we didn't have this, but right now we have the benefit of the longest running happiness study in the world, done by Harvard. And what they concluded at the end of the day is the people that were the happiest were people that had these good relationships. And the piece that where the Harvard study fell short is it didn't say how to achieve that. Okay. Now, fortunately, we know that. We know how to achieve it. And that's first by establishing that great relationship with ourselves. Then we can have and replicate that relationship throughout the fabric of our life. And that's what makes you happy. All of the old thoughts about money making you happy and all of that other stuff have been disproven. So there's actually a study there, and the data is there. I don't have to guess at it being misproven. It's been disproven, and it's been disproven in my own life, and I'm going to get to that in a second. So the goal of all these things that we're talking about today is to get to happiness. And I want to get into that, the spiritual snobbery, and there's lots of different things that go on in that, and that we want to avoid. But let's first talk about what this happiness is. And before I can do that, and how multiple modalities can help you to get to it. Before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself for the people that don't know. And at the end of this thing today, I always do my best to answer some questions, and then to go to the feed itself, and then to answer the questions within the lines too. So if you have questions during this thing, please, by all means, ask them. And I want to tell you this: I was not special, picked, or chosen. I'm not a guru. I'm not a thought leader. I'm barely even a business guy anymore because my business is, I get paid in love, not in money. So I can barely even say that I'm a business guy, but I am a guy who had some extreme situations happen in his life, and who became super happy by comparison to how I was in a past life. So and in a past life, I mean within this lifetime. So I have to tell you a little tiny bit about myself in order to give you some contrast so that you understand some things. So I was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which some of you may consider the armpit of the world. And for me, it was the only world that I knew. But I was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in a family where my father was a very violent guy. And as a result of that, women and children got hit in my household on the regular, and got hit in all different kinds of ways, and as well as mental abuse as well, right? And so we got banged around in my house. And as a result of that, I didn't do well in school. I got kicked out of schools, and finally did my last year, I think, of the 11th grade. and went, and within a year or two found myself in jail, and which was not an environment I could flourish in. I later found out, and I got out of jail, and I decided to go and to make money. I became a millionaire in my 20s. I took a company public in my 30s. I had $140 million net worth. This is all verifiable stuff. It's on Google. I think I even have a Wikipedia page. I went broke in my late 30s in the dot-com crash at a public company, and I started another company at 38 that I sold for cash when I was 41 or 42, and I sold that for about $95 million, $94 million, give or take. And I quit working. But in that time, I became a world-class asshole. I became one of the most unhappiest, a drunk, a drug addict, a sex addict, a misogynist, a wife beater. Everything that you could imagine that was wrong with a human was me. And I was super sad, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why I could have all this abundance and be so upset. And I was super, super, super upset, where every day it was hell for me to live. It was so bad I tried to commit suicide 2 times. There's nowhere to lie. And then through the miracle of grace, something happened in my life as a result of me doing plant medicine one time, and everything changed. And this is you can't get more honest than this. You can't be more true than this. And as a result of that journey, I decided I want to dedicate my life to helping people that were experiencing the same pain as me. Because I thought I was such a rare person, because I was struggling each day to live. And then I found out that I wasn't rare at all, that it was a super, super, super common thing to have trouble in this life. And so from that point on, I wanted to figure out, okay, hey, because my life went from that kind of extreme sadness to a kind of happiness that by comparison seems like constant bliss compared to where I was. I was able to have a relationship for the first time, to find the love of my life, to get married, to be in a relationship where the only rule is the truth, where we're truthful about every single thing. I never even knew what that was like. My relationships look like a game of Battleship, and the last thing I wanted anybody to know was my position, because slow targets would get hit. So I was all over the place with my lies, and all that's changed. And I'm in a business that I love, and when I tell you I love, there's nothing that makes me more happy than seeing somebody else get this thing and seeing them get free forever. So the business that we're in is we get people that freedom. And once they have that freedom, it's theirs forever. We run a spiritual center in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, that's closed for this 3 to 4 weeks because we're doing renovations, but opens back up October 1st. And we have a rate of miracle that when people come to this place, about 94 out of 100 leave with a life-changing miracle that's theirs forever and stays with them forever. A new life, a brand new way of looking at life. And all of this stuff, what happened to me, happens to everybody who comes, almost everybody who comes. And so I want to talk a bit about that, but before I do, I would just love you to, if you know someone that could benefit from this, to hit the share button on your Facebook and share this with other people, because we're going to get into the meat of what's what. And I keep going to the same kind of presentation because the truth does not change. See, we can get all off in the periphery and argue the detail, but the core truth never changes, and this is the truth. And I hate to use this piece of paper because it's kind of goofy, but when I was told, and I'll tell you, this is so crazy, I did this plant medicine. I went to the moon, and the moon typed out a bunch of things, and those things are the things that I built this center on. And as crazy as that sounds, it works, and it works for everybody. But the moon told me that between the time you were conceived and 5 years old, that something happened. So you were born over here as yourself, And at about 5 years old, something happened between when you were conceived and 5 years old, and that thing made you leave your soul and become someone else. And that split, she explained to me that all disease, and sadness is a disease too, all disorders and all addictions are the result of this split. And that in life, and the worst part about this too is that at the time that you split like this, what happened is you imprinted something on your subconscious mind that you're not enough because you left yourself. So the rest of your life is this outplaying of this split and the things that we do to try to fill this gap. So what I tried to fill this with, and this is crazy, I tried to fill it with money, and I was good at it. I tried to fill it with money, with sex, with money and sex and money, with drugs, with alcohol, with anything. I tried to fill it and fill it and fill it and fill it and fill it. And you can't get enough of what doesn't satisfy, what doesn't fix that gap. You can't get enough. So you just keep going. And I learned that this happens to everybody. The moon explained that it happens to everybody, and the fix is so simple. And so one of the things that became like a real eye-opener for me was that a lot of us try to fill this gap, and so a lot of us try to fill it with something we'll never get. So for most people, becoming a multi-millionaire would be a task that they're probably not going to fulfill in this life, because it's about 2 out of 1,000 people statistically who get to be an ultra-high net worth person, a person with more than $20 million. So that's 2 out of 1,000. So that means that 1,998 are going to miss that. So they're going to try to fill their life with something that's not even there, that they can't even get. The second part about this is the happiness study told us that anything over $75,000 doesn't equate to happiness. So we're just trying to do this for the sake of the rest of us, and some of us try to do this. Some of us try to fill this with spiritual pursuits. It's like a dog who chases cars, that when he catches them, he can't drive them anyway, right? But he'll chase them all day and all night. So a lot of us, go to yoga twice a day and buy every new book that comes out, every single new Hay House book, every new author, every new workshop, every new anything. Just keep it going. Go to church Sunday, go to church Wednesday, go to yoga 7 days a week, do this, do that, read this, read that. And it's the pursuit of the pursuit. It's not even trying to get it. It's the pursuit of the pursuit, because what our mind wants to do is do anything that keeps us from thinking about the fact that we left our soul. That's the truth. And this was explained to me by the moon, which sounds incredibly crazy. Right? It sounds so crazy, but it happens. So now what the question comes is, what comes first, the cart or the horse? So I know so many people, and the thing is, I'm so fortunate to find these beautiful souls that come down to Rythmia, and I get to I'm there, out of every 12 weeks, I'm there 11 weeks, so I get to meet all these people, and they're all real beautiful, so beautiful they're going to cry. They're like such honest people searching for such real things, and I get to meet them, and they tell me, their life story and how many of these workshops they went to, and how many, I had a guy the other day that honestly was 72 years old, and he told me he read about 20 books a year. That's 1,400 books if he started reading when he was born. But I know this guy read over 1,000 books. Do you know how much time it is to read 1,000 books? And he did yoga every day, did all these things, and kept missing the prize. Couldn't catch the golden ring, as they say. And I'm going to tell you this, that there really is a way to catch the golden ring. There's a way to start over. So it comes down to, how do you do this in what sequence? So most of us play into the I want to stay distracted off what I'm doing. So let's go to countless therapy sessions, and let's get every single workshop that we can, and let's go to yoga 8 days a week, because 7's not enough, and let's do all these things that occupy this time when we know, here's what's crazy, when we know, because the data is there, that the happiness study says that all earthly happiness is the result of relations, and those relations with people we know, with this. So we should be in that groove, and instead we're on this groove. So let's talk about it. So here's the deal. And somebody just said, "Uh-oh, here comes the paper again." Yep. Uh-oh, here comes this paper. One day I'm going to get a nice paper like this. So what we want to do, what our primary goal should be, is to fix this rift, right? Because a lot of these workshops are dynamite, and a lot of these therapists are great, and a lot of the books are fantastic, right? But until we fix that first thing, you can read 1 trillion books. Go to, and I want to give you a little sidebar here, so you don't feel bad. Here's how much therapy I had. I had a full-time therapist, meaning 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, for 6 years. And that guy is actually the chief medical officer at Rythmia, Costa Rica, Dr. Jeffrey McNary. That's how much therapy, and I'll make it even worse. Then Dr. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith gave me one of his reverends for 2 days a week. So I was in therapy 7 days a week for 6 years, and it wasn't enough, because it can't be enough until the first thing is fixed. So all of these things, all the books, all the workshops, I gotta tell you what, you could put me into a workshop by I don't know, a mass murderer. You pick them, and if you have 7 days to listen to somebody, they're going to say something, because they are God, no matter who they are. They're going to say something that resonates, that's true, and that you can take with you. And that's all good, as long as you did this first. So people say, okay, what is this? And this is a 3-step process. This is what this is. It's the knowledge of knowing who you've become, and then it's the merging back with your soul, with that soul. And people say, well, how can you not be in your soul? Well, think of it like this. Think of your body as you, your mind, your body, right? And think of your aura as big, and just that your soul at one time was here, and it's now outside of you, within your aura, but not in you, right? Sounds crazy, but that's where it hangs. So this is the process of bringing that soul back into you, right? And that's what we want to do. And then after that, once you do that, then everything works. Did you hear that? You go from nothing working to where everything. You can put me in a 5-day course with Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was the serial killer, and I'll get something great out of it. Because I did this first step. And the thing is, I don't want you to think that's me talking down to you, because none of you were as lost as I was. Not one of you were as lost as I was. Can't be. And the grace of God, the grace of whatever this is, allowed me to merge back with myself. And 94.75% of the people who walk through the door of the place that Brandy and I have, they have the same thing happen to them. So it doesn't make me too special, right? It just makes me, we all have this same chance, right? So I don't want you to think I'm talking down on you and saying, oh, well, this happened to me. This happens to everybody who comes, everybody. But I want to tell you what happens, and then what can make sense. So I used to sit there and I used to hate on Joel Osteen and hate on the televangelist. Benny Hinn was my biggest hater on her. And after this thing, I watched these guys, and each one of them, there's pearls of wisdom coming out of their mouth, because they're God too. And even though sometimes they might not have the greatest intentions, Spirit takes over and beautiful things get said, and those things can help you. But until you get there, until you're in a spot where you're healed, you're going to keep trying to feed this. You're going to feed this rift, and you're going to feed it with the wrong things. And you can't feed something that happens on a subconscious and a spiritual level with talk therapy. Talk therapy, this is how I look at it. Let's say you buy a car at an auto auction. Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to run it through like a car wash and detail the interior and then wash the outside. And then the final thing you want to do is probably shine the chrome on the bumpers. Well, here's the thing. We're doing it the other way. We're trying to shine the chrome on the bumpers and think, is that enough, when the car is all all toast anyway, right? It's toast. Has to be clean. We're doing it in opposite. So I'm going to tell you, once you do this, once you run it through the car wash, once you clean it up and get it intact, then shining the bumpers just makes it nicer. You can almost do nothing to disturb it once that first piece of work has been done. And people say to me, well, hey, then your life is perfect right now. And I got to tell you what, nothing could be further from the truth. My life is so not perfect, but my life is so joyous. So what I mean by that is this, the grit of life I'm actually experiencing. I used to sit there and say, whoa, me, I got beat up as a kid and I had sexually abused and da-da-da-da-da-da, and this sucks and I'm an alcoholic and all this shit. And now I'm in it. And when it hurts, it really hurts because I'm in my heart. And when there's joy, there's really joy because it's in my heart. So, I mean, I went from not living to living overnight, and I watch people do it all the time. So, Jerry, what are you talking about? So these are the things. There's 3 steps to this thing, right? There's show me who I become. And it's never going to change. This is it. Show me who I've become. And you say, well, that's easy. I've become a blank. Well, you saying you've become it and you knowing you've become it and you feeling you've become it from here are very different things, are very, very different things. You see, because we're dealing with our subconscious, we're dealing with our soul, and we use plant medicine to help with this. And you say, well, why? Let me give you a great reason why. Because when you drink plant medicine, everybody shows up. And you say, well, who's everybody? And I'll tell you, everybody is you, your conscious, your subconscious, your mind, your ego, your spirit, your soul. All of a sudden, I need a bus just to get you there to drink the medicine, right? When you think about all the people that are coming, here's the beautiful part. You drink the medicine, and all of you get drunk except your soul. Your ego gets drunk, your conscious gets drunk, your subconscious, everybody gets drunk, your body gets drunk, except your soul. And all of a sudden, when the rest of you are confused because it's an organized offense against an unorganized defense, and this has been set up by your soul, all of a sudden, your soul starts speaking and everybody starts listening. Oh my God, my soul's saying that. Because your soul has been trying to talk to you for so long and your ego drowns it out usually. So now all of a sudden, your soul is talking, and because it's talking, it can make a deal with you. And it's a deal that you'll be aware of on all these different levels, on a conscious level, on a subconscious level. This will all be happening to you, that this deal. So the first thing your soul wants to know is that you realize who you've become. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, for a lot of us think we're a no good piece of crap. And our soul a lot of times wants us to know that we're better than that. And for a lot of us, we think we're kind of okay outwardly. And our soul wants us to know that we're really not, and shows us how we've hurt people. But more importantly than that, it shows us how we've hurt ourselves. So the first time I got to meet my soul, where I was aware that it was my soul told me I was terrible and really, really, really gave it to me. Now, when I tell you it gave it to me in not a nice way, a really, really, really bad way. My soul went off on me, and it told me who I'd become. And I said, why did you tell me that? Why? This isn't like helping me or making me feel like shit. And my soul said, I told you that so that you're aware of it, because if you're aware of it, I know you're going to stop doing it. Crazy, right? So that's the reason that your soul wants you to know who you become. And then the second part of this is that it wants to come back into your life. But it's not going to come back into your life on the same conditions it did for the last 20 years, or 30 years, or 40 years, or 50 years, depending on your age. Your soul is going to come back into your life on its terms. And I'll tell you what its terms are, and this is kind of scary. Its terms are that you bring it along with you wherever you go. And every decision in your life you run by your soul. And if you're in conflict with your soul, you let your soul win. Those are the conditions. So your soul says, I will merge back with you, Mary or Scott or Bob or whoever you are. I will merge back with you as long as you merge back with me at all costs. At all costs. That's a big thing too, because happiness is at all costs. Right? So your soul is going to say, at all cost. That's how I want to do. So now you're in a position you can say, okay, boom, I know who I've become. Boom, I merged back with my soul. And yet there's still one thing that needs to be done. Because let's say that you're a 40-year-old dude and or a 40-year-old woman, and you just went through this process. You saw who you become. You drank the medicine or did transformational breath work or did some kind of crazy hypnosis, like what they call ultra hypnosis, which is 4 and 5 and 6 hour sessions of going so deep that you finally get to this place. You see who you become, and you merge back with your soul. And now what do you have? You have a brand new you, but and you have an earth heart that's been hurt. And I'm going to tell you, this is the craziest thing. For my whole life, I thought that I have a broken heart was a metaphor or a euphemism for something else. I never thought it was in your heart. And the medicine showed me, well, did you ever see somebody say, oh my God, I broke my heart? No, they'll go, oh my God, that broke my heart. Because it really is here. The heart you're talking about is this one in here. And so if you're a 30-year-old woman and you've been dating for 10 years and your father broke your heart and a couple boys have broken your heart and men and you now have this new thing. You're in yourself, but you have a broken heart. So the next thing you ask the medicine to do is to come in and to repair your heart. And it does. It's mine was so shit. My heart was so bad that the medicine actually gave me a new heart. And we have a whole class in our workshops. Our workshop is called the Rythmia Way. And there are these different classes. And the first class is About Your Miracle. It's called About Your Miracle. And then Introduction to Plant Medicine. And the third class is called New Heart, because they've gone through this process and they've come back together, and now they come and they get a new heart. And there's a whole class about how to ask the medicine and how that works. And it's crazy. And so we've had people that have done medicine 500 and 600 times that have come to us and said, I can't believe I should have just come here first because this is the wholeness of the thing. So then I say, okay, and this is this talk today about using these multiple modalities to achieve higher states of happiness. Forget about, I want to tell you something. Forget about this spiritual snobbery shit. Forget about people telling you they're smarter than you, they're ahead of you. If anybody you're watching on Facebook Live, or if you're following a spiritual leader and he leaves you feeling like he or she is more than you, get the hell out of there. Get the hell out of there, because it ain't true. They might be aware of things that you've forgotten, but imagine if I knew where your keys were and you simply just forgot. You know where they were in general and you forgot. And I make you feel bad because you forgot about where your keys are. That makes me an asshole, not you, right? So anybody who's telling you that they're more spiritual than you, they miss the whole plot. Okay, they miss the whole plot. If they're trying to make you feel that way, they miss the plot. So, but what I'm telling you is that at our place, when we see people leave and we stay in touch with these people. Matter of fact, some of them are probably on this Facebook thing, and they had these miracles in their lives, and the miracles show up every day in their life, in their work, in their love, in their what they're doing, and we stay in touch with them, and then they tell us that before their life was lost in the pursuit of this thing. And now that they have it, they have more time in their life for other things. So let's say somebody was in conventional therapy. Generally, within a few months, they stop. They stop going to therapy. And let's say they were going to a workshop a week. They probably tone it down to a workshop a month because they got theirs. And this is how this works. If the Harvard study is true, and the Harvard study is the only piece of data that exists that's real on happiness, and it says point blank that your relationships dictate the level of happiness you're going to experience in this lifetime, and the least regret at death. So, dude, when you're fixed, what are you going to spend your time doing? Pretty clear, right? Being in relationship. You know what that means? Going to work and having relations with the people you work with. It means your children and grandchildren and parents and cousins and nieces and nephews and friends, the chosen family. This is what you're going to spend your time, because this is where the reward is. You might still go to courses, and if you're in the sales business, you still might go to Zig Ziglar or Tony Robbins, who I love. Like, there's some great guys out there for pumping you up and doing that. But that's icing on the cake. That is, you might go to get a hypnosis thing, or you might go to 5 Rhythms dance. You might go to do things that are fun for you, but you're not going to be in pursuit of the thing that keeps eluding you, because it's caught. It no longer is outside of you. It's inside you. And that's what we do. Our thing is, that's what we do. And we've been so lucky that we have medicine to help us do this. We have this medicine, and this medicine is so beautiful and so amazing, and it's there for everyone. And we actually do it in a way, and I'm never ever going to talk the medicine down, because doing medicine is always the right thing to do. But if you're, a kid that was born in Cleveland or Sandusky, Ohio, and you hop on a flight and wind up in the Sacred Valley, and just shoved off a plane and given to people that don't speak English, and they're trying to convey something to you, and then you take medicine, you're in a bed that's uncomfortable with tarantulas and spiders and shit like that, and you're freaked out. Hey, look, it can still work, but the chances keep dwindling as that goes on. What we like to think is that we try to make the experience for you something that you can relate to in English, with clean facilities, a real nice place, clean beds, clean ceremony centers. And the way we do it, we incorporate everything that happened in that trip, my life, that worked for me. So that's transformational breath work. That's the medicine, plant medicine. That's clean, super clean, farm-to-table organic food. This hydrocolonic cleanse that'll blow your mind and your butt at the same time. Therapy, one-on-one therapy, group therapy, all these workshops, spiritual leaders, all in one place, in a place with a nice pool, with massages, with mud baths and all kinds of crazy creature comforts, so that this spiritual awakening, which, by the way, is one hell of a hard week. This is not for the faint at heart. Not because the medicine is scary, but because the monster under the bed has been you, and it brings it out. So this is a really crazy hard week. This is not for somebody that isn't ready to face themselves. The hard part of this one is facing yourself. It's not doing it. And I want to just cut this through for 1 second, is that people say, oh, this guy is making money. Well, I have news for you. And I want you to really tune into this one. To date, I've lost about 11.65 million of my own money. And if this thing goes through the roof and goes bonkers, it'll take me about 8 years to make that money back. And about 9 years from now, I can start taking a salary. And that's nowhere to lie. And I want to tell you, when I know how to make money, if I put that $11 million in the things that I know, I'd be making probably $1 million a month net. That's what I used to make. And instead I did this, and I am getting paid. I'm getting paid in love. I get to see people come in, one person who's upset and scared, and leave 7 days later a different person. How many people get to do that? Not many, but I get to do it. And that's where I get joy and help and love out of this thing. So I'm going to tell you that I don't care what your story has been. I don't care where you've been. I don't care what kind of mistakes you made. I don't give a shit, because the whole time you thought it was you doing it. You're here. Your soul's here. This is some person you created out of the need to be safe. It's this person that's done all this stuff. And that's why you can put me with a mass murderer, and I don't care, because it wasn't him that did it. It was never. Right? It was never anybody after the split. And you can say, well, you're defective because you had a split. Well, here's the truth. We were designed to split. We were designed to break. because we couldn't expand our consciousness if we remembered who we were. Couldn't. So this was supposed to happen, because until you feel all alone, which is hopefully how you feel right before you get to me, then the realization of that you were never alone doesn't have any punch to it. And then that's what gives like this feeling of love, that you finally get it. And you get it down here because we put this together. And after it's done, you get the idea of the whole thing. You get the idea of the whole thing. And there's nobody who can't get it. I don't want you to think there's one person out there who's excluded, because if there was, it would violate the law, every law in the universe, that, that all men are created equal. I don't believe that, because I've watched Carl Lewis run, and I can't do that, so I ain't equal to him. But I believe all souls are created equal, and I've seen that, and that's the truth. It's the truth. You're every bit as good as everybody on a soul level, and your soul has the same opportunity as anybody's soul. Now you need to get it back in the game, and that's what we're trying to do. So this idea of multiple modalities, what am I talking about? I'm talking about once this happens, and once you put this back together, then all things work. Every single thing works. What I mean by that is that you can go to a sales seminar, and you can pick the God words out of it. You can pick the God, because it works. You can go to a therapist and you haven't had a breakthrough in 15 years, and all of a sudden every word that he says is gold, because this is back together. And then what you'll notice within a very short time is you don't need that. So you say, what do you need? You need about 10 minutes a day with yourself, and that's all you need. You see, this meeting, you becoming whole is one meeting away, and that meeting is with you. Just you, right? There's nobody else. It's just you. And that's the truth. So I want to tell you, there's a couple things in here that I wanted to touch on today. And I want to tell you one thing is that, at any time you want, today, tomorrow, the next day, please call this number, 866-936-9446. That's 866-936-9446. 9446. That's operators at our place. Even if you don't want to come, if you have questions about this process or want to do this process at your home, you can. I have a book coming out hopefully within the next couple months, called Shit the Moon Said, and it tells you how to do this at your house. It's super important, because we want everybody to get this, because we really want to feel like we're part of this shift that's occurring. We want to feel that feeling, and I want to see everybody get this. Everybody get this, because living one more day in fear is not worth it. That this freedom is at the tips of your hands, and it's yours. You can have it. I want to invite everybody down to Rythmia, and I want everybody who's been to Rythmia, please share this video, please, because you got your miracle, you got yours now. Now do something for the rest of people and share this thing, because it's happening at Rythmia, and it's happening every single day. And that's the truth. I just want to answer some of these things that have came in. What's the worst that can happen? Well, let's take a look. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that you can come down, you can see who you've become, get on the medicine, see who you become, and you can decide not to merge back. And you say, well, that's terrible. I can tell you what, a percentage of people, probably about 6% of the people who come there, have that happen. And they rate us 97 to 98% as a hotel and as a vacation, even if they don't merge back, right? Because for the first time now they're in control. Because I'll tell you this. Here's a sign that you're not merged. If you want to give yourself a litmus test to find out if you're merged or not. Two different things. If the song remains the same, but the faces change, you're not merged. What does that mean? If everything in your life still remains the same, so you're on boyfriend number 500 and you're not married, and your girlfriends are saying, hey, you picked wrong. Well, guess what? There's more to the story, because the universe is always sending us clues as to where we're at. If you're on business number 400 and they keep failing, there's a sign. That's the faces change, but the song remains the same. So that's one thing in your life, if you're in that. The second thing is this, is nothing feels good anymore. So I'm going to tell you this. the longer that you're separated from yourself, this is like a prolonged movie. So to get in character and to stay in character becomes really confusing after about 10 years that you're in something and you start asking yourself, because here's the question that comes up. You split from yourself. Here's the question comes up. Do I even like green beans? Do I even like golf? Do I even like this? I can remember as a kid I used to go swimming or go to the beach and it made me happy, and now it doesn't do. So anything that creates general malaise is just a sign that you're not in there, that you're not there. So those are the signs, and the worst thing that can happen is you can have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful vacation, and you can be in control again. Okay, so Chad says, I tried plant medicine once, but didn't receive this profound soul guidance you speak about. And I am definitely interested in trying it again now. Okay, so here's the thing. This is what I found out. And we've had thousands of people at our place, right, with doing the medicine. And a lot of people have done the medicine before and haven't had this experience. And yet everybody who comes with the guidance and does the medicine with guidance has that experience. So it's not, you weren't wrong. I know guys that order medicine, honest to God, and this takes a brave person, right, to sit there and to Google plant medicine and order some of this stuff from someplace, I don't know, Amazon or one of these places, have it delivered to the house, try to cook it, drink it, and then freak out and wonder what could possibly have gone wrong. That's how crazy, right? It takes a brave person to do this stuff. Or a friend of theirs went to Peru and came back and decided he's a shaman, and you're going to do medicine on his couch in Soho, and with horns beeping and da-da-da-da, and of course you're not going to get a result. Of course you're not. So don't worry about that. Come down and let us do what we can do. What do I do until somehow I can get there because I'm struggling? Okay, Crystal, here's what you can do. Leave yourself alone. Sounds crazy, right? Just remember these words. Leave yourself alone. Like, think of yourself and think, Crystal, you're a woman. Think of the little girl that's inside you, the little girl, and that girl before whatever made you split, and something made everybody split from themselves between when they were conceived and 5 years old. Think about that little girl. Think about that little girl. And the fact that maybe you have a daughter or your friends have a daughter. Trying to fix this the way that you're trying to fix it is impossible. It's tantamount to me saying to my son, go start a car with a bird feather. And then because he can't start it, he comes back in and I hit him a couple times because he can't start the car with the bird feather. So leave yourself alone until you can get down to see us, or until you can get some of the classes that we teach, and those are going to be coming up in the next month. We're going to put some of them online about how to do this from home. My book, listen, you have an extra $12 or whatever the hell the book costs to get this book and to learn to do it. But in the interim, please don't beat yourself up, because here's what, subconsciously that beating up is going on anyway. Don't do it consciously on top of it. No wonder you feel like shit. No wonder it's hard. Right? No wonder it's super hard. God bless you, and just leave yourself alone. When the entire process is done, all plant ceremonies, will you be able to hear your soul afterwards? Here's the craziest part. Not only can you hear your soul, but we have this exercise. I'm going to show you. I don't know how to make this thing do this. I wish my kid was here. Okay. Jared, how do I make these things go away? These. Here, I want to show them. How do I make those... Yeah, before the face comes on. How do I make them go away?
Close it.
Uh-huh.
And then press the center button, but don't open.
Okay, I got it. Okay, thank you. So here's what I tell you to do. One of the things that we do, you see this guy? I wonder if you can see him. Do you see this guy? That's a picture of me before my soul split. And what we teach you to do is keep this on your phone and learn to meditate with that every day, and that will actually start talking to you. You blow 2 times and you keep the picture there and you ask it yes or no and it'll say yes or no to you. And that's the one thing that you can start hearing after plant medicine. The other thing you can start hearing is you'll hear your subconscious chatter. And if you think you're crazy now, wait till you hear what your subconscious is saying all the time. It's crazy. And because you have this connection now after the medicine with your sub, you can actually talk back to it and make sense to it. But it has some crazy things to say. It has some crazy things. So that, I hope that answers that. I want to see what else we got in here. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through this. Some years ago, I had an out-of-body experience. This is Stacy, and I saw myself attached to a silver rope floating above the earth. I could see the rope frazzling, and I knew in my mind that if the rope would die. Can you tell me what the rope represents? This happened after smoking weed. Okay, now here's the thing. I'm going to tell you something. What happened in that dream and what happens in these ayahuasca journeys are things that Freud and Jung could not explain, because what they are is the moon told me it's Mrs. Moon's magic math, and it's your unique prescription. You needed to see that in order for it to mean something else in your life. So you could sit here and I could have Freud right here and I could say, hey, listen, I saw an elephant and the elephant turned into a vagina and the vagina ate my Volkswagen and my Volkswagen ran over my grandmother and then she turned into a seal. You think someone's going to make sense of that? You're out of your mind, right? So what that is, though, that what I had to see, because the medicine has to honor your intention, and your intention is to see yourself. That was clutter that had to come out in order for you to be able to see yourself. So tying dreams and psychedelic experiences directly to life events is super hard, and we never do it. And we never are able to do it. I have the whitest teeth. Thank you for that. Yes, a lot of work. I haven't been to Rythmia, however. Vivian, I'm glad that you're coming in. I'm glad that you're coming in February. We'll be waiting for you, and we'll be glad to see you. Amazing Michelle, please come here, because I have to tell you, here's when people say, when I get them there, right, and they're leaving, I say, what, tell me what you're thinking. And they're crying all the time. About 95 out of 100 cry. And while they're crying, you know what they say? They say, I wish I would have done this before. And I said, well, why didn't you do it before? And it's never that they didn't have $3,500. Anybody can go get 30. You could, and that's the truth. If you had to, you could go get the 3,500. You know what they said? They said because they were afraid. And I said, what were you afraid of? And they say, I was afraid, maybe like if I did the medicine, I saw something scary. And I said, well, did you see something scary? And they always say, only myself, and they start crying. So I'm telling you, if you're thinking about doing this, today's the day. When do you want to be happy? I'll tell you when I want to be happy. Yesterday, right? I don't want to be happy next July 17th of 2029. I want to be happy? No way. I want to be happy yesterday, so I'm happy all day today. Let me see what else I got for you here. Claudia, I'm going to see you soon, Claudia. I love to see you. Brian Adams, what is the number again? The number again is 866-936-9446. And Crystal, I spoke to you about how to do that. Kate, I believe in the power of plant medicine, but it is not available to someone like me. I want to ask you, Kate, why isn't it available to someone like you? Because it's available to almost everyone unless you have a super crazy pre-existing heart condition. And then even then because here's the crazy thing. So I keep saying to the moon, when I get to Journey, I get to see the moon, and the moon answers my questions, of which I always have a lot, right? And I say to the moon, I said, well, how else can you do this? And she said, there's 2 shortcuts. There's plant medicine and there's transformational breath work. And we do both of them. So come and do the breath work if you can't do the plant medicine. In both ways, we'll get home. Chad, you're spot on here. No amount of prescription drugs. Well, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about pharmaceutical drugs. That anytime that you're not dealing with the whole plant. Okay, so I can tell you this. So everybody says, "Oh, cocaine, woo." Well, listen, in the jungle, they chew cocoa leaves till they're 110 years old. They chew cocoa leaves because the whole plant is almost always a better solution. When you start breaking down the plant, and you start smoking cocaine, it's a whole different story. So the great thing is with these prescription drugs, and they're killing. I want to tell you what. The opioids are killing. They're killing a whole generation of people, and it's not even one generation. It's from people who are old to kids, and it's the worst thing in the world. And there's no amount of them. It actually works in reverse. That's the sure way to kill yourself, to get out of this world, is do a bunch of prescription drugs. Carmen, thank you for saying that. Jennifer, funny, Jerry, very clear explanation. Let's just see. How many times do you have to take plant medicine to remerge? Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. This is a question for yourself. So I'm going to tell you this. 94.7% of people who come for a week have it happen within that week. And I can tell you that if you want it, and the people that it doesn't happen to, first off, they're given the opportunity to remerge 100%, and 5.5 or 5.25 say no. So I can tell you 100%, Cheryl, that if you come, you'll have the opportunity to do it. You have the opportunity to do it. So let's just see. Hey, Patricia, come down. If you believe this is going to help you, come down and see it. Melody says, how important is it to fast before doing the medicine? I'm going to tell you what, Melody, it makes it so much easier. So what we do with you is that we send you a little information kit about 2 weeks before you come. And in that, it gives you dietary suggestions. If you follow them, it's easier. And by easier, I mean you'll get sick less, and you'll get clearer visions. And then when you're with us, we make sure you eat wonderfly. And this is nowhere to lie. I'll put up a picture in a second. But I know the billy goats that make the cheese next door. I know them. I go and pet them. The farm where we get the cheese from is contiguous to our property. So the food that you eat when you're here is super clean, and it's 100% great for you. So I'd love to see you there. And somebody has a question, Claudia, ayahuasca and addiction. So this is what the medicine says about that. So, and I'll tell you what it says about disease and addiction. It says that everybody was born here, and everybody leaves their soul out of safety to become someone else, and that this rift that occurs, the void, the vacuum in here, is where all disease, all addictions, and all disorders come from. So the funniest thing is, if you believe in alcoholism as a disease, which you can, I'm not going to quantify any of it, but the body is perfectly positioned to heal itself on fruits and vegetables if we're merged again. So I'm going to tell you, whether you believe alcoholism is a disease or not, I'm not even going to get into. I'm going to tell you this, that when you're done doing a course with us, a 1-week course, the desire to drink will be terribly, terribly diminished, if not gone completely. Terribly diminished. And I mean down by 90-some%. Your desire to do anything goes way, 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 way down. So I'm gonna get off today here because my kids, my son Jerry is here, and my other son Patrick's on his way over, and they're going to say goodbye to me and go back to Costa Rica. I'm actually going to see the grandfather in Colombia and drink medicine with him. He's 109 years old. And then I'm going to be in Costa Rica charged up and ready for another 12 months worth of being able to meet you beautiful people, and to do whatever I can do, my little part of helping you, get this thing, and in turn healing myself more at the same time, which I love doing. So by all means, thank you for listening to me. I'll be back here next week with a new topic and more information about what we're doing, and hopefully some more insight. I want to thank you. God bless you. God keep you, and we'll see you next week. Bye now. Peace.